Hello everyone on YouTube, it's Jordan here again with another video, and today we're going to be installing a Linux distro, and this distro is called Accessible Coconut. Yep, you heard me right, it's called Accessible Coconut. And why is it called Accessible Coconut, you may ask? The accessible is the clue. This is a Linux distro that was designed with people with disabilities in mind. Specifically, people like me who are visually impaired. And this is so exciting. This is a community-driven project. I believe it's India. I believe someone correct me on that if I'm wrong. But this will hopefully change Linux forever. There used to be one called Linux, but it's so outdated, it just never got updates. So this is a brilliant alternative. This is a distro that's based on Ubuntu Mate. So it uses the Mate desktop environment. And I'm going to go off camera to do the install because this is a blind focused Linux distro. I am not going to be installing this on a virtual machine. We're going to be installing it on real hardware, on a real computer, using real specs. So I have just finished flashing the image to a USB stick, which I'm going to remove from the Mac. And now we're going to go ahead and boot the laptop that I'm going to be installing the distro on. So now, what you want to do, once the USB is in, press F12. Depends on your computer, but mine will beep, as you just heard there. So now, I'm going to go press 3 times. Hopefully I don't boot into Linux Mint, which is installed on this computer. But it looks like we're booting from the USB. So we have to wait patiently. Because it is doing something, it is booting. It's booting the image. And you'd know once it's started because it'll make a chime sound. There we go, it's doing something. We just gotta wait. There we go. So here we go. Right, let me make sure I'm still recording.
Mike, stop recording.
Okay, we've booted into the live environment of Accessible Coconut. Now there's one thing you want to do before you go ahead and install. You want to make sure that the sound is loud so that you can hear your installation. So what we're going to do is press Windows and Tab. to go to the desktop, which we're in. And now what you want to do is press the Windows key or super key, tap in sound, press enter. You want to make sure that you can hear your computer during the installation.
67,971.
Doesn't matter which one you choose because it won't save on the USB. So now that we've chosen our volume level, let's go ahead and install. Let's close this. Now we're on the desktop and we logged in as a user called Coconut. This is the lab user. So to install Accessible Coconut, you're going to want to go
Coconut user like install
and
Coconut
click on this icon
04.03 desktop configuration file 4 of 5.
and press enter on it.
Return.
I'm going to guide you through this. So let's wait. Good old.
Install frame. Click push button.
Here we are.
Continue push button.
We're in the install frame, so we're asked to choose a language. It wants us to choose English, so we're going to pick English.
Language selector. Table with 7 right control.
We want English, so we click on continue.
Continue push button. Return.
And
table with 99 rows 1 column. English US 31 of 99.
Keyboard layout. I'm going to use English UK.
English UK 30 of 99. Tab. English UK 1 of 9.
Yep.
Tab. Text. Type here to test your keyboard.
So you can tap here to test your keyboard.
M-O-O-M-O-O.
I'm going to tap in something random. I don't know. Moo moo.
M-O-O-M-O-O-M-O-O-M-O-O.
That seems to be working really well.
Tab. Detect keyboard layout push button.
So that allows you to detect keyboard layout. You don't need to do that.
Tab. Click push button. Tab. Back push tab. Continue push
So I'm
button.
going to click continue.
Return. I don't want to connect to a Wi-Fi network right now. Selected radio button.
And now we're on our wireless network setup screen. So I'm going to go ahead and connect to a network.
Connect to this network. Selected radio button.
Connect to this network.
Tab. BT 5GN5N. 2 of 10.
Yep.
Tab. Click push tab. Back push tab. Connect push button.
Connect.
Return. Wi-Fi network authentication required. Type of authentication required by Wi-Fi network. Password for encryption keys are required to access the Wi-Fi network. BT 5GN5N. Password text.
So I'm going to type in my wireless password. It's not going to read it out. Don't worry. I hope the camera's picking up the sound for you. Okay.
Show password tab. Cancel push tab. Connect push
I'm
button.
going to go connect.
Connect. Return.
And it should connect us to the internet. We should be connected. So we just got to wait.
Tab. Connect to this network. Selected radio button. 1 of 2. Click continue push button. Back push. Click push. BT 5GN5N. 2 of 10. 3 level 2. Tab. Click tab. Back push tab. Continue push button.
I should imagine we're connected now.
Return. Normal installation. Selected radio button.
We're going to do a normal installation. So now this step asks you what type of installation you want. We're going to do a normal one.
Tab. Download updates while installing Coconut. Checkbox checked.
Download updates while installing. That's checked by default. Yeah, you definitely want to do that.
Tab. Install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and additional media formats. Checkbox not checked.
Always check that. Install additional drivers.
Space. Checked. Tab. Learn more. Push button.
Learn more.
Tab. Configure secure boot. Checkbox checked.
Configure secure boot. I don't. So
Space.
I'm going
Not checked. Tab. Click push button. Tab. Back push
to
tab.
turn secure boot
Continue
off.
push button.
Press continue.
Return.
Now it will go ahead and look for an operating system on the drive. In this case, it will find Linux Mint. We want to completely install Accessible Coconut.
0%.
Because whenever I do Linux distro installs, I like to start fresh. So
Tab. Click push. Back push. Click push. Install Coconut alongside Linux Mint 20.1. Reset 20.1. Selected radio
no,
button.
we don't want to do that. We're going to erase disk and install
Erase this
Coconut.
and install Coconut. Tab. Advanced tab. Click push tab. Back push tab. Install now.
Because we don't want to introduce any bugs to this new Linux install. And that's going to ask us if you want to do
the
so.
changes to disks. Dialog if you continue. The changes listed below will be written to the disks. Otherwise, you will be able to make further changes manually. Warning, this will destroy all data on any partitions you have removed as well as on the partitions that are going to be formatted. The partition tables on the following devices are changed. SCSI 1000 SCA. The following partitions are going to be formatted. Partition hash 1 octfuzzy 1000 SDA as ESP. Partition hash 2 octfuzzy 1000 SDA as X4. Go back push button.
And it wants to use the ext4. That's recommended for Linux.
Tab. Continue push button.
We're going to continue.
Return. Install frame 100%.
And now it's going to start installing. But we've got a few other stuff to take care of. Our time zone.
Tab. Text. London selected.
And it wants us to use London, so that's default because we English UK. It's connected to the internet.
Tab. Back push button. Tab. Continue push button.
So that's our time zone sorted out.
Return. Your name. Text.
And now to type in my username.
JORDAN. Tab. The name it uses when it talks to other computers. Your computer's name. Left control.
And now for your computer's name. Well, that's easy. I'm going to give it some unique.
Left shift URNAL. Left COZNUT. Tab. Pick a username. Text. Jordan selected.
Yep. I'm going to call me Jordan.
Tab. Choose a password. Password. Black circle. Black circle. Black circle. And tap selection.
Now this is your standard user setup.
Black circle. Black
Don't
circle.
worry, that's installing in the background.
Confirm your password. Password 10. Black circle. 40. Black circle. Require my password to log in. Selected radio
Require my
button.
password to log in. That's a good idea.
Continue push button.
Continue.
Return.
And now we wait for the install. So while that's installing, I'm going to give you the summary of what we've just gone and done. Okay, so what we've done is we've booted up the installer. We have sorted out our sound settings so that we can hear our installer.
33%.
We have opened our we've opened the installer by going to the desktop
99%.
with Windows and Tab and clicking on the icon. We have chosen a language we want for our system for the installer. We've chosen a system language and a keyboard language, and we've tested our keyboard layout. We've connected to a wireless network.
54%.
We have chosen what type of installation we'd like. It's recommended that all new Linux users go for a full installation
60%.
so that they can experience the Linux distro. We've formatted the drive to install our new Linux distro. And I didn't even have anything important on that drive anyway, so yeah. So that's that. Once that's all been taken care of, we have set up our time zone.
70%.
And we have set up our user account. So that's the entire installation. Of course, it asked us to do a lot of proprietary stuff, like install third-party drivers and make sure our hardware is okay.
78%.
Now, I do warn you, the installation will take a while because it has to install everything. At the moment, it's making sure it's formatting the drive for us, as you can hear.
77%.
I believe the developer's name, the co-founder, is called Narlin. I'm sorry if I've mispronounced your name wrong.
81%.
But if you're watching this, I'd like to say thank you for this amazing Linux distro. I've used it countless times and I absolutely love it. I've been wanting to do an installation video on YouTube for a while now. And
86%.
if you're wondering where you can get accessible coconut from, for those who want to try the distro out, it's available on sourceforge.net, which is where most people, independent Linux distros often are downloaded. Like Ubuntu Mate is one of them, and this distro is based off Ubuntu
95%.
Mate. Now I do love Linux Mint, but I just wanted to start fresh on accessible
100%.
coconut. Okay, so you've heard that long beep. It means it's formatted the drive, and now it's going to begin the installation. Now I did say this could take a while.
0%.
There we go. It's starting the installation. It's on 0%. So I'm not going to bore you by letting you wait for the installation. I'm going to talk a bit about Linux and why it's so good compared to Windows and Mac. Well, Mac will always be good, but Windows, Linux is definitely good. The thing about Linux is getting better every single day. Linux works on old hardware. If you've got an old laptop that can't run Windows 10, such as the laptop we're using, it can't run the latest version of Windows 10. It's the IdeaPad 320. Then this distro is pretty good. Your system requirements are you want a dual-core processor or higher. So my AMD CPU matches that, and plus it's got built-in graphics. Your system has to have at least 2 gigs of RAM. I've got 4 gigs, and that's more than enough for a Linux distro like Accessible Coconut. And I can tell you now, this distro is lightweight. Once the operating system is fully installed, we're going to get into the ins and outs of it, and we're going to navigate it. And
11%.
I will go off camera again because I can't use my laptop's keyboard for obvious reasons. I don't like them. So that's why I use an external keyboard.
12%.
And the one thing you need to know about Linux is your account, you're not an administrator by default. Well, you shouldn't really be logged in as an administrator anyway. This is something Windows does. So if you want to install stuff, you will need your password. And it's the
16%.
password that you use to log into your Linux system. So
24%.
So we're going to wait for the installation. And it seems to be going really well, as you can hear, through the progress beeps.
30%.
Of course, it's installing the updates, but those will install in the background when we restart the computer anyway, so you don't need to worry. This is built on Ubuntu Mate 20.04, so you've got nothing to worry about there in terms of long-term support. So this will get us support for 5 years.
32%.
I mean, I've got no idea where this project is going to go, but I should imagine if more people like the distro, it's going to become a mainstream. It's not got an entry on Distro Watch yet.
33%.
So I don't know how to pause on here, so I can't pause during the installation, which is a shame, because I am using the Chrome camera app that you can download from the Chrome Web Store. So I'm letting this install. Don't worry, guys. Once we've waited enough, it'll be worth it, because you're going to see some really cool. This distro comes with some really cool pieces of bundled software, which I'm sure you're going to want to check out. It's a shame I have to go off camera to do the installation,
35%.
but you'll understand anyway, because it's pretty straightforward, especially for someone like me. So as you can hear, this is an easy to use talking installer. Speech throughout. The hands, the eyes free Linux install. And even better, you'll find out once the distro is installed. But I'm not going to ruin it for you right now. We're going to wait till the distro is fully installed.
Microsoft.
And I'm sure most of you have heard of Linux. Linux was another Ubuntu-based distro specifically designed for the visually impaired, but it ended up not becoming that popular. And the last I heard of it, they were trying to merge with Sonar and use Fedora as a base, but Fedora itself has accessibility issues, and Sonar is based off of Manjaro, which is not. Manjaro's not newbie friendly, so
38%.
your best options are really Ubuntu or Linux Mint. So the developers have chosen Ubuntu as a base, just like Linux did.
39%.
So by default, you get the Mate desktop environment. And honestly, I recommend you stick to that desktop environment.
42%.
It's very accessible. Don't use GNOME. GNOME's terrible. I mean, I've tried GNOME on the standard Ubuntu,
46%.
and it's really, really bad. It's good for searching for software, but on the one hand, it's not that good. So the software repositories will include things that are accessible. So yeah, pretty good. So I hope you're looking forward to this, guys, because I'm certainly looking forward to showing you all this distro can do. It is still installing as we are here. I'm sorry you have to wait for this, but trust me, it'll be worth it.
Microscope.
I'm just going to go quickly check up on it because it's just gone quiet.
47%.
Oh, there we go. We're getting there. It's on 47%. So it's halfway done. Don't forget, it has to copy some files across, and that includes the pre-installed software. It also needs to sort out our drivers, which it gets from the official Ubuntu archives. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited. Once this is fully installed. I'm going to show you how to create the bootable media. So what I did was I used a program called Etcher. And I can show you that I can tell you about it while we wait for this to install. So to create the bootable media, what you want to do is
67%.
there we go. It's installing. We want to open Balena Etcher. This is available for Windows, Mac, and Linux. You want to click the button that says Flash from File, and you take that ISO that you've just downloaded,
71%.
and you flash it to a USB stick. But how do you do it exactly? Well, you'll then be asked, I mean, to select a target. So that would be your USB stick. So be very careful what you're doing here. And take account of the size.
73%.
If you know how much your USB actually has, then you're good to go. So select one with either 15 or 16 gig, because that's typical for a USB pen drive.
74%.
And then once you're done with all that, select Flash. On the Mac, you'll be asked for your admin password. Type that in, and it will start creating a bootable USB stick. It will be bootable once it's installed, once it's sorted. And to actually boot from the USB stick, as you saw, depending on how your PC is set up, you may need to go into your UEFI settings. But once you've gone into those and sorted your enabled USB booting, it does depend on your computer.
80%.
Press the boot key, and that again depends on your computer, and select your USB stick. Now my computer,
82%.
my laptop is set to boot from verified installers. And that includes any Linux installs. If you've had Windows on them, if you've had Windows on the computer, then any Linux install will be signed by Microsoft and allow you to boot from it. But if you install something generic like Linux, for instance, that is not a verified boot,
83%.
and so it won't boot. Neither will Talking Arch or Sonar Linux or Trisquel Linux or Keysoft Linux. So you want to install from a verified installer like Accessible Coconut.
84%.
But because this is built under Ubuntu Mate 20.04, it's got the verified Ubuntu. It's got the signature from Ubuntu Mate. And our installation is almost done, by the way.
95%.
So we've only got like a few more minutes now, I think. In the meantime, while we wait for the installation, I'm going to play you a few songs from the PSR 295. Don't worry, you'll still be able to hear the installation.
87%.
Make sure I'm still recording.
Stop recording.
88%.
The installation is going pretty well.
Let's stop.
And I'll go ahead and put another song on.
Percent. 90%.
If you've got any questions, write them down now, or write in the comments. Our installation shouldn't take that long now. So feel free to write in the live chat feed or in the comments, whichever way you prefer, while you wait for the installation.
Left control.
I accidentally press the left control. Let me just check on that installation.
Plus. Continue push button grade. Plus. Page tab list. Not press toggle button. Progress bar 91%.
Yeah, our progress bar is on 91. I'm going to go pick one of the built-in songs.
Tab. Home page link. Tab. Accessible coconut mailing list link.
Oh, by the way, while you're in the installation, you can actually read about a lot of the stuff because you're still in the live
Accessible
environment.
coconut telegram group.
So we've got accessible coconut telegram group,
Accessible coconut blog link.
accessible coconut blog.
Tab. Home page link. Left shift. Tab. Accessible coconut blog link. Tab.
And we're back in the progress bar, so I'm going to go put another song on. Installation does take a while, by the way. How about a song from the 220? The installation is taking a while. Now go pick a song from this keyboard. After this song, we'll check our installation. It is important that if you're doing this, do not remove the USB stick. Otherwise, you'll get a failed installation. let's check our installation, because it may feel like it's not gone anywhere, but it actually has. You know what it's like with Linux. Let's see where we are at.
Plus, panel. Tab, home page link. Tab, accessible coconut tab, access tab. Plus. Help and support, home page, accessible coconut mailing list, accessible coconut telegram group, accessible coconut blog. Tab, home page link left. Plus, panel. Tab. Plus, panel. Tab, install, toggle button collapsed, 92%.
In fact, what you can do is if you're a geek like me, press enter and expand this.
Expanded. Load hash 15.
And it tells you what it's doing.
2059 coconut ubiquity. Running in root. Ignoring request of hash 15. 2217 2059 coconut ubiquity. Invoke RC.d. Policy RC.d denied execution of restart of hash 15. 2217 2059 coconut ubiquity. Setting up GStreamer 1.0 multi-colon AMD64 1.16.2 hash 2. Hash 15. 2217 write control.
Or you can interrupt all that stuff. And
tab, new line, Feb 2217 2139 coconut ubiquity, installing glug to /root/heavy.hash 15, Feb 2217 2139 coconut ubiquity, installing for x86_64 heavy platform.hash 15.
so that's what you can do to see your installation progress and see how that's going. We are getting somewhere with the installation, which is nice. So it shouldn't be.
Feb 2217
There we go.
2207 coconut ubiquity, installation finished, no error reported.hash 15, Feb 2217 2208 coconut ubiquity, setting up Linux generic 5.4.0.65.68, hash 15, Feb 2217 2209 coconut ubiquity, processing triggers for system V245.4-4 ubuntu 3, hash 15, Feb 2217 2209 coconut ubiquity, running in root, ignoring request, daemon reload hash 15, Feb 2217 2209 coconut ubiquity, processing triggers for NANDP 2.9.1-1, hash 15, Feb 2217 2221 coconut ubiquity, processing triggers for installing Vogue 6.7.0 DFSG.2-5, hash 15, Feb 2217 2222 coconut ubiquity, processing triggers for Pin 2.31-0 ubuntu 9, hash 15, Feb 2217 2223 coconut ubiquity, processing triggers for Lamp tools 0.136 ubuntu 6, hash 15, Feb 2217 2223 coconut ubiquity, updated lamps, generating /root/editor.in 5.4.0-26 generic hash 15, Feb 2217 2244 coconut ubiquity, W, possible missing firmware /link/firmware/ansh/habit 12_bcn.info module launch to hash 15, Feb 2217 2244 coconut ubiquity, W, possible missing firmware /link/firmware/ansh/upchers_bcn.info module launch to hash 15, Feb 2217 2244 coconut ubiquity, W, possible missing firmware /link/firmware/ansh/habit 12_smc.info module launch to hash 15, Feb 2217 2244 coconut ubiquity, W, possible missing firmware /link/firmware/ansh/upchers_smc.info module launch to hash 15, Feb 2217 2304 coconut ubiquity, processing triggers for Linux image 5.4.0-65.
So as you can see, it's telling us what's going on.
69.73, hash 15, Feb 2217.
Preparing 3 full stop, preparing 3 full stop.
1233 KB, Feb 2217 2401 coconut ubiquity, hash 15 get colon 10 http://ubuntu.com/ubuntu vocal updates/main AMD64 Linux headers generic AMD60 flat control. Tab, continue testing push button.
Alright, so our installation is done.
Left restart now push button.
So it said, let me just read what it says.
Plus, installation complete. Time of installation has finished. You can continue testing coconut now, but until you restart the computer, any changes you make or documents you save will not be preserved. Restart now push button.
So we're going to click the restart now.
Continue restart now push button.
So press enter on that.
Return.
Give it a few seconds. Don't remove the USB straight away. Just wait for it to finish off a few extra stuff. In the meantime, I'm going to check if we're still recording. Then I'm going to remove the USB, and then we're going to restart the computer.
Microscope record.
Because at this point, our installation is finished. The waiting game is over. So now, remove the USB. like that. And now we press Control, Alt and Delete. We should be able to restart our computer. There we go. What you just heard there was the post system. This is what's unique about this distro. It will chime to let you know that the computer has posted and that it is booting up. So now we wait for our login screen. Now I'm going to show you what you can do with this USB afterwards if you plan to keep the distro, which I'm going to do. Because if you've used Etcher, you won't be able to use the USB as normal. So we're going to format it once we're all done. So we're going to wait for it to fully boot up. There we go, it's got a talking login screen. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. Log us in. Here we are in our new accessible coconut install. So now what you want to do is do the same again as you did in the live environment. Because we need to turn our volume up.
Sound preferences dialog. Output volume. Horizontal starter 42,000. 66,971. 66,971. 65,972. Okay, here we go. This is how. There we go. Congratulations. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You've successfully installed Accessible Coconut and the computer is working for you. So what's next? Well, we're going to configure Orca. Escape. Desktop.
And here's what I like to do. To configure Orca, press insert space.
Screen reader preferences dialog. General page tab. 1 of 8.
So general. Generally what I like to do is I like to go.
Keyboard layout panel. Tab. Progress bar updates panel. Speak updates checkbox ticked.
We want to make sure that speak updates is checked.
Braille updates checkbox
Braille
ticked.
updates isn't checked.
Beep updates checkbox ticked.
And beep updates.
Tab. Frequency text. 10 in tab. Restrict to a tab. Mouse panel tab. Speak object under mouse check tab. Time and date tab. Date format tab. Same all tab. Enables tab. Announce locked works in same all checkbox. Braille up speak updates. Keyboard layout. General page tab. 1 of 8. Okay, so we're in our general page. Now what you want to do next is voice page tab. 2 of 8.
You want to go to the speech page. And you want to change some settings here.
Tab. Enable speech checkbox ticked.
You want to enable speech, which is always enabled.
Tab. Verbosity panel. Verbose. Selected radio button.
Make sure it's on verbose.
Tab. Punctuation level panel. Most. Selected radio
If
button.
you're new to Linux, turn off punctuation.
Some. None. Selected radio
Okay,
button.
I've just gone and done.
Tab. Spoken context panel. Only speak displayed text checkbox not ticked. Tab. Speak landlines check tab. Speak indentation tab. Speak misspelled worthy tab. Speak object mnemonics check tab. Speak child position tab. Speak tutorial messages checkbox not ticked. You want to make sure that this is checked. This will help you a lot. Space. Ticked.
So now it'll speak tutorial messages to us.
Tab. Speak description checkbox ticked.
Speak
tab.
description.
System messages are detailed checkbox ticked.
System messages are detailed.
Speak colors as names checkbox ticked. Tab. Announce locked word tab. Announce tab. Announce and tab. Announce lists.
We've still got one more thing to take care of here, folks.
Tab.
Alexa, alarm. Here's your
I've
reminder.
got some reminders for Nemo.
Let's wait for Alexa to shut up. There we go.
Tab. Speak full row into tab. Tick full row in document tables checkbox tick tab. Tick full row in select sheets checkbox not tab. Help push tab. Apply push button.
So
Cancel tab. OK push tab. Teach page
we've
tab.
changed the
Real
setting
page
in
left
here. Now we
control.
need to change our key echo
Rail
settings.
page. Key echo page tab.
So
Tab
you
on
use the right arrow key to switch between tabs.
tab. Enable key echo checkbox ticked.
We're going to disable key echo.
Space. Not ticked. Tab. Enable echo by character checkbox not ticked.
I want to
Space.
turn
Ticked.
echo by character on.
Tab. Enable echo by word checkbox not
I
ticked.
want to turn
Space.
that on.
Ticked. Tab. Enable echo by sentence checkbox not ticked.
Enable echo by sentence. You
Tab.
don't need to turn
Help
that
push
on.
tab. Apply tab. Cancel tab. OK push
And
button.
now we can save our settings.
Return. Screen reader settings reloaded.
So now,
Desktop. Icon view. To move to items. Use either the arrow keys or type ahead searching.
I'm going to show you how to navigate. Well, to get to your applications, you press Alt and F1.
Applications menu. 1 of 3. To navigate, press the left or right arrows. To move through.
And to end this video, we're going to go through the applications that we've got. I'll show you how to browse the web on Linux in a future video. So here we've got,
Shutdown. Accessories menu.
at the bottom, we've got
Shutdown.
Shutdown,
Logout.
Logout,
Software boutique.
Software
Universal
Boutique,
Universal access. menu.
Universal Access,
System tools menu.
and System
Tab of 30.
Tools, and our places. So let's go to our first
Accessories
option,
menu.
which is our accessories, and in there we've got
Arthur. 1 of 80.
Author, which is a dictionary,
Backups. 2 of 80.
backups, so backing up your computer,
Character map. 3 of 80.
character map,
Disks. 4 of 80.
discs for formatting discs,
And Grandpa Archive Manager.
in
5
Grandpa
of 80.
Archive Manager for managing archives.
Iris Mail Abbreviation Editor. 6 of 80.
So here's our Braille.
Avast Mobile Security, we are always looking out for you.
Oh, Avast. We know. We know. Anyway, where was that?
And Iris Mail Abbreviation.
Here we are, Iris Braille abbreviation table. So these are your Braille contractions if you're using a Braille display.
Grandad, 12 o'clock.
Iris Mail Language Editor. 7 of 80.
So we have Iris Braille language editor.
Iris Mail Mate Calculator.
Here's
5 of 80.
our standard Ubuntu Mate stuff, calculator,
Mate Font Viewer.
font viewer,
Mate Search Tool.
search tool,
Mate Terminal.
terminal,
Passwords and keys.
passwords
13
and
of 80.
keys,
Blank.
and blank,
Flumer. 50
Flumer,
of Redshift.
text editor,
Flumer. Redshift.
Redshift,
60 of 80. Take screenshot.
take
70.
screenshot,
Ubuntu Mate Guide. 80 of 80.
Ubuntu Mate guide,
Arthur. 1 of 80.
and Author. So we're back on Author.
Accessories
Let's
menu. Education
go
menu.
to our education. We've got
LibreOffice Math. 1 of 7.
LibreOffice,
Activate.
LibreOffice Math,
Periodic table.
periodic table,
Tux Math.
Tux Math,
Tux Math with speech.
Tux Math with speech,
Tux Typing.
Tux Typing,
Tux Typing Braille.
and Tux Typing Braille edition.
Tux Typing with speech.
Tux Typing with speech.
LibreOffice Math. 1.
And we're back on LibreOffice Maths.
Educate.
So that's our education.
Games menu.
And for our games, we've got
Play chess with phalanx using notation.
chess with notation
Export.
and export.
Play chess with games menu.
So we're going to get out of the games.
Graphics menu.
For our graphics, we've got
Document scan.
document scanner,
Animate image viewer. 2 of 10.
iMate image viewer.
GNU image
We've
manipulation
got-
program.
We've
4
got
of 10.
GIMP. For those who love GIMP, a Photoshop alternative.
Image magic cut.
Image Magic Color. I don't know what that does.
LibreOffice Draw.
We've got LibreOffice Draw.
Leos. 6 of
Leo's. I don't know what that is.
Leo's OCR screen.
Leo's OCR screenshot.
Make color selection.
Make color selection.
Shotwell.
And Shotwell.
Tesseract OC.
Tesseract OCR.
Document scanner.
And we're back on our document scanner.
Graphic internet menu.
And for our internet, we've got
Chromium web
Chromium,
browser.
we've got Firefox,
KDE
we've got
Connect.
KDE Connect. Now, KDE Connect is for hooking up your Android phone wirelessly,
KDE Connect indicator. KDE Connect SMS.
and these are your KDE Connect settings and stuff.
Links to 6
So
of
we've
9.
got links,
Pigeon.
Pigeon,
Thunderbird.
Thunderbird email,
Transmission.
transmission BitTorrent client,
Chromium web browser.
and we're back on Chromium.
Office menu.
For our Office, we've got
Actual document.
Actual document reader.
LibreOffice. 2 of 8.
LibreOffice,
LibreOffice Calc.
LibreOffice Calc,
LibreOffice Draw.
LibreOffice Draw,
LibreOffice Impress.
LibreOffice Impress,
LibreOffice Math.
LibreOffice Math,
LibreOffice Writer.
and
7 of 8.
LibreOffice Writer,
Mate Dictionary. 8 of 8.
and our Mate Dictionary.
Actual document. Office other menu. 7 of 30.
And for the other, we've got
VCD imager. 1 of 1.
VCD Imager.
Other sound and video menu.
For our sound and video menu, if you're a creative person like me, we've got
Audacious.
Audacious,
Audacity.
Audacity,
Max 2 point. Audacity.
which is nice to know. Audacity is a fun piece of software to use if you're a love audio OST.
Max 2.7.
I've had Mux 2.7,
Lazero.
Brasero, DVD burner,
Celluloid.
Celluloid, which is a video player,
Cheese.
Cheese, for using a camera,
Curlew.
Curlew, don't know what that is.
Daisy Play.
Daisy Player for reading Daisy books.
Ebook Speaker.
Ebook Speaker, which reads electronic books.
Handbrake.
Handbrake.
Instrument.
Instruments, those are for the music creation software called LMMS.
Listen microphone start.
Listen microphone start.
Listen microphone stop.
Listen microphone stop.
LMMS.
We've got LMMS, music creation software.
SM Player top.
SM Player, which is a media player.
Sound.
And our sound settings.
VLC Media Player.
And we've got VLC Media Player, which is always a pleasure to have.
Zinap Sub FX Answer.
Zinap Sub Effects, these are your instrument plugins for LMMS.
Zinap Audacious.
And we're back on Audacious.
Sound System Tool.
For our system tools, we've got
Administration menu. Preferences menu.
Preferences menu.
Charger. 3 on.
Carger, File Manager,
Cocoa Patcher.
Cocoa Patcher for the Coconut updates,
CPUX.
CPUX,
Deconfeditor.
Deconfeditor,
Firmware.
Firmware,
Fixed parts.
Fixed Parts.
GPMI package installer.
We've got our package installer.
Gparted.
We've got Gparted
Log file view.
for log file viewer,
Make disk image.
Mate Disk Image Mounter,
Make disk usage analyzer.
Disk Usage Analyzer,
Make system monitor.
Mate System Monitor,
Make terminal.
our terminal,
MTFS fix.
NTFS Fix,
Power statistic.
Power
Set
Statistics,
line on layout. Set preload demon.
Set
Anti-lock.
Preload Daemon,
USB image writer.
we've got USB Image Writer,
USB stick formatter. Administration menu.
and our USB stick formatter. We'll come back to that in a bit.
System. Universal access menu.
For our universal access, we've got
Atlas Rail.
Atlas Rail.
Atlas Rail stop. 2 on.
our Braille stuff,
Magnus. 3
Magnus, Magnifier,
onboard.
Onboard,
Screen reader.
Screen Reader,
Set memory demon. Shall not plane writer to turn screen reader on or off. 8 on.
and this allows us to turn off the on and off the screen reader if you want to do that.
Universal software boutique.
And we've got our software boutique
Logout. 12 watts.
and the ability to log out. So if you want to use the USB stick as normal, you can't format it the normal way. Let me just make sure my camera is still on. This is going to be the last thing I can tell you now.
Microscope
Because
recording
I don't need to
button.
show you setting up your apps. You can do those in your own time. And we're still recording. So, what we're going to do is we're going to put the USB stick in the computer, like so. This is our bootable USB that we've just created, and we want to turn this back into a normal, regular pen drive. So how do you do that? Okay, so that's going to come up in the file manager. So what we want to do is go back to our
Logout. Soft. System tools.
go back to our system tools.
Preferences menu. 2 on. Charger. 3. Cocoa Pat. Deconfirm. Fix. Gpart. Lock. Make. Empty. Power. Set. USB image writer. 20 on.
And go to
USB stick
USB
formatter.
stick
20 on.
formatter. This is the same one that's built into Linux Mint. So we press enter on this. That we want to use it with our Mac. So we're going to go ahead and do that.
Focus dialog. Press Alt plus F6 to give focus to child windows. Icon view. To root to Kingston Data Traveler 3 point.
Alright, so it's found the USB stick, Kingston Data Traveler.
As FAT32 combo box. 1 of 4.
As FAT32, we don't want to format it as that because I want to use it with the Mac.
Expat.
So it's recommended if you want to use the same drive on Linux, Mac, and Windows, format it as exFAT.
Volume label. Text.
And our volume label,
Type.
I'm going to give it something unique. I'm going to call it Nemo. Why not? I love that film.
NBNO.
Finding Nemo is the best film and the best film they've ever come out with.
Close push button.
And
Format push button.
we're ready to start erasing the disk.
USB image writer. Authenticate dialog. This will destroy all data on the USB stick. Are you sure you want to proceed? An application is attempting to perform an action that requires privileges. Authentication is required to perform this action. Password. Password text.
So we type in our admin password. Again, this is really, really good. I love how it does. I love how it tells you to authenticate. This is something Microsoft needs to do. And it should.
USB image writer frame. Dialog. The USB stick was formatted successfully. OK push.
Okay, the pen drive was formatted. So
100% USB image writer frame.
normally it should fully do
Volume
this.
label. Text. Lima selected.
And
As X format. Close push button. To activate.
I want to close that.
Desktop. Icon. Bina.
So how you find out if you've done it or not?
User. Turn screen icon.
Generally,
User folder. 4 of 4. Jordan Stone icon. 2 of 4. Desktop pictures the public the 10 videos phone. Phone. Slash. Links the phone the link. Prop. Snap. Buzzer. Snap, prop, link, media folder.
Go to our media.
Jordan folder. Jordan.
And we should find our USB. I'm hoping we've got it.
Jordan. Media. Back pusher. Place it. Close the side pane pusher. Table with 40. Jordan. Desk. Find. Docu. Down. Mute. Pick. Media. Clean. Devices. Nemo. 2140.
There we go. There's our USB stick. So you press tab to get to your USB stick. So we press enter on Nemo.
Nemo.
Well, I've called my USB stick Nemo.
Nemo.
And there is nothing on the drive because we have deleted the entire USB. Generally, what I like to do is once I'm done with a Linux install, I set up Dropbox and then I install Google Chrome from there because I have a Google Chrome installer. But I also have the Google Chrome installer on my USB, so I'm going to go ahead and install everything on that after I'm done with this video. But I could do with some dinner after that because I am starving. Well, not literally, but you know what I mean. I'm hungry. Let me know if you want to see a video of me configuring KDE Connect. And though we've not got graphics, that's because I've got an older the GPU is old. I mean, it came out in 2010. So that was my video of Accessible Coconut. So I'd like to thank the individual for giving blind people the access to Linux with this distro. It is such a brilliant distro. It deserves an entry on Distro Watch, big time. I mean, with all the stuff that it's got pre-installed, I mean, you can make music with a distro. I mean, you can be creative with LMMS. Hopefully it's got MIDI drivers. I ain't tried hooking up a MIDI keyboard to it yet. But we're getting there, and we've got our AS3 Linux distro installed and ready to rumble. And thank you for sitting through the installation process. Like I said, if you've got any questions, let me know in the comments.
Switch to stop recording button.
So this is Jordan signing off saying have a good day, everyone.